Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to tell you a story that starts in a quiet high school gym. The kind that smells like polished wood floors and old sweat, where the lights hum softly and the echoes of bouncing basketballs usually fill the air. But this story isn't about basketball. It's about a challenge that was supposed to be a joke, a sparring match that was meant for laughs, and a single dad janitor who reminded everyone in that room what real strength looks like. His name was Daniel Reyes. Most people at Westbrook High just called him Mr. Reyes, or simply the janitor. He was the guy pushing the mop bucket down the hallway before sunrise. The guy who stayed late to fix broken lockers. The guy who quietly picked up trash after school games while everyone else went home. He wore faded work boots and an old navy hoodie with the school logo stitched on the sleeve. He kept his head down. He worked hard. And at exactly 3:30 every afternoon, he clocked out to pick up his 8-year-old daughter, Mia, from elementary school. Daniel wasn't just a janitor. He was a single father. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier after a long illness. And since then, it had just been the two of them in a small one-bedroom apartment across town. Every morning, he woke up at 4:30, made Mia breakfast, braided her hair the best he could, and walked her to the bus stop before heading to work. He never complained. He never asked for sympathy. He just kept moving forward. Now, Westbrook High also had something else. It was proud of its martial arts club. The club was led by Coach Harding, a former regional champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The star of the club was a senior named Tyler Knox. Tyler was tall, confident, and wore his black belt like a crown. He had won local tournaments. He had trophies lined up in his room. He had a following at school. People respected him. Some even feared him. One Friday afternoon, the martial arts club was practicing in the gym because their usual room was being renovated. Daniel was there too, emptying trash cans and wiping down bleachers while the students trained on the mats. Tyler was showing off a new takedown he'd learned at a weekend seminar. His friends were hyping him up, clapping every time he flipped someone onto the mat. "Man, I need a real challenge," Tyler joked loudly. "These guys are too easy." His friends laughed. That's when his eyes landed on Daniel, who was dragging a mop bucket across the gym floor. "Joe, Mr. Reyes?" Tyler called out with a grin. "You ever train?" Daniel looked up, slightly surprised. "Train?" "Yeah," Tyler said, bouncing lightly on his feet. "Martial arts. You look like you're in decent shape. Want to spar?" "Just for fun." The room went quiet. A few students snickered. Daniel hesitated. "I've got work to finish." "Oh, come on," Tyler pressed. "It's just for fun. We'll go light. I promise." There was something in Tyler's tone, half playful, half challenging. The kind of tone that assumes the answer will be no. Coach Harding crossed his arms, watching carefully. "Only if Mr. Reyes wants to," he said firmly. Daniel looked at the clock. He still had time before he needed to leave for Mia. He set the mop aside. "All right," he said calmly. For fun, a ripple of excitement spread through the students. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "This is going to be quick." Daniel stepped onto the mat and took off his hoodie, revealing a simple gray t-shirt underneath. His build was lean but solid. Not bulky, not flashy, just strong in a quiet, grounded way. Tyler cracked his neck and smirked. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you." Daniel just nodded. They bowed. And then it began. Tyler moved first, fast and aggressive. He shot in for a double-leg takedown, confident and precise. But before anyone could blink, Daniel pivoted smoothly, redirecting Tyler's momentum with a subtle shift of his hips. Tyler stumbled, barely catching himself. A murmur ran through the room. Tyler circled, a bit more cautious now. He threw a quick combination, testing distance. Daniel blocked effortlessly, his movements economical, almost minimal. No wasted energy. Coach Harding's expression changed. Tyler lunged again, attempting a sweep. This time Daniel responded. In one fluid motion, he trapped Tyler's arm, stepped behind him, and executed a clean, controlled throw that sent Tyler flat onto the mat. The gym fell silent. Daniel didn't slam him. He didn't gloat. He simply stepped back. Tyler scrambled up, face flushed. "Lucky move," he muttered. They reset. Tyler came in harder this time, pride pushing him forward. He tried a spinning back kick. Daniel ducked under it and closed the distance instantly. What happened next was so fast most of the students only caught it on their phone recordings later. Daniel shifted his weight, hooked Tyler's leg, and applied a precise shoulder lock, guiding him gently but firmly to the mat. Tyler tapped. The sound echoed. No one spoke. Daniel released immediately and stepped back, offering a hand to help Tyler up. Tyler stared at him, stunned. "How?" Daniel gave a small shrug. "It's been a while." Coach Harding stepped forward, eyes wide with a mix of respect and disbelief. "Mr. Reyes, where did you train?" Daniel hesitated for a second, as if debating whether to answer. "Marine Corps," he said quietly. The room collectively inhaled. "I served 12 years, Daniel continued. "Hand-to-hand combat instructor for the last 4 years." Of the silence deepened. He glanced at the clock again. "I don't practice much anymore, just enough to stay sharp." Tyler looked like someone had pulled the ground out from under him. All that confidence, all that bravado, suddenly seemed small. Coach Harding nodded slowly. That was some of the cleanest technique I've seen in years. Daniel bent down to pick up his hoodie. It's not about being flashy, he said. It's about control. Tyler swallowed. Why didn't you say anything? Daniel looked at him, not with anger, but with something gentler. You didn't ask. The students began whispering again, but this time it wasn't laughter. It was awe. Daniel pulled his hoodie back on and picked up his mop. Good match, he said to Tyler. You've got talent. Just don't let it turn into ego. And with that, he went back to cleaning the gym floor like nothing extraordinary had happened. But the story didn't end there. The video of the spar spread through the school by Monday morning. Clips of Tyler being thrown, tapping out, and Daniel's calm composure were everywhere. Students who had barely noticed the janitor before were now nodding respectfully when he passed in the halls. Tyler didn't show up to practice that Monday. When he finally returned on Wednesday, he was quieter, more focused. He approached Daniel after school while he was fixing a broken door hinge. Mr. Reyes, Tyler said, rubbing the back of his neck. I owe you an apology. Daniel looked up. For what? For treating you like you were just the janitor. Daniel finished gently. Tyler nodded, ashamed. Daniel tightened the last screw and stood up. Son, there's no just about honest work. Tyler swallowed. Would you ever consider helping out with the club? Even just once a week? Daniel paused. He thought about Mia, about the extra hours, about the quiet life he'd built. Then he thought about the look in Tyler's eyes, not pride this time, but humility. I'll think about it, Daniel said. That evening, when Daniel picked Mia up from school, she was practically bouncing with excitement. Daddy, my friend's big brother showed me a video of you. You're like a ninja. Daniel laughed. Genuinely this time. It was just a friendly match. You won, she insisted proudly. You're the coolest dad ever. He knelt down and hugged her. No, Peanut, I'm just your dad. But inside, something had shifted. The following week, Daniel showed up to the martial arts club not with a mop bucket, but in simple training clothes. He didn't take over, he didn't bark orders, he just observed at first. Then he offered small corrections, a slight adjustment to a stance, a reminder to breathe, a lesson about discipline. Word spread quickly that the school's janitor was a former combat instructor, but Daniel made it clear from day one. On these mats, titles don't matter, not black belt, not janitor, not Marine, only effort and respect. Under his quiet guidance, the club transformed. Tyler became one of the hardest working students in the room. He stayed late to help beginners. He listened more than he talked. He learned that true strength wasn't about dominating someone weaker, it was about lifting others up. Months later, at the regional tournament, Tyler faced his toughest opponent yet. The match was intense, back and forth, sweat and grit and determination. In the final seconds, Tyler executed a move. Daniel had shown him a simple, efficient counter that relied on timing rather than force. He won. The crowd erupted. After receiving his medal, Tyler didn't run to his friends first. He walked straight to Daniel, who stood quietly near the back of the gym. Thank you, Tyler said, voice thick with emotion. Daniel smiled. You did the work. As they drove home that night, Mia sitting in the back seat with a juice box. Daniel glanced in the rearview mirror and caught his daughter watching him. Daddy, she said softly, why don't you ever tell people how strong you are? Daniel thought about it for a moment. Because, he said gently, if you have to tell people, then maybe you're not as strong as you think. Mia nodded thoughtfully, as if storing the lesson away. And that's the thing about strength. It doesn't always look like trophies or loud confidence. Sometimes it looks like a man pushing a mop down a hallway at dawn. Sometimes it looks like a father braiding his daughter's hair before work. Sometimes it looks like walking away when you could easily prove a point. That day, in the gym, everyone expected to see a janitor get humbled. Instead, they saw humility defeat ego. They saw that you never truly know someone's story just by the uniform they wear. And most of all, they saw that the strongest people in the room are often the quietest ones. So the next time you're tempted to underestimate someone, remember Daniel Reyes. Remember the black belt who thought it was just for fun. And remember the single dad janitor who stepped onto the mat. Not to show off, not to embarrass anyone, but simply to remind everyone watching that real power doesn't need an audience. It just needs control. And sometimes, the most powerful lesson isn't the one you teach with words. It's the one you teach by example.